Okay, we will continue now with the next talk. It's a great pleasure to announce Sonia Montegiove from Italy. She will talk about migration to LibreOffice, especially migration in Ministry of Defense in Italy. Okay.
Thank you. Good morning, I'm Sonia Montegiove and I'm a software analyst. I work in public administration. And about 3 years ago, I coordinate with others a migration project named LibreUmbria that involved about 5,000 PCs of Umbrian public administration. And now I'm president of LibreItalia Association and I'm a member of the Document Foundation. LibreItalia. LibreItalia is a no-profit association, a voluntary Italian association made up of developers, ICT specialists, civil servants, trainers, teachers, and ordinary users who wish to share news, information, and solutions about LibreOffice, and especially about migration project from proprietary software to free and open source software. LibreItalia founders are 23 ICT specialists and civil servants with a valuable experience of migration project in public administration and on enterprises. And many of the founders are also members of the Document Foundation and therefore actively engaged in the LibreOffice project. LibreItalia's Google Plus community has about 2,700 active members that every day share information, news, and solutions about problems. And it represents an important community for professional and domestic users. But what is the problem of free and open source software, especially in Italy, I hope also in Italy? And why do not public administrations, for example, adopt free and open source software? In Italy, when you talk free and open source software, people are surprised because, very often are surprised because they don't know what you are talking about. And it's not a generation problem. It doesn't depend on your degree, on where you live, on your geographic statement. It's just a cultural problem. And this is what we learned from our seminars and meetings in public administration and in schools and in the university too. So what do we need and what does free and open source software need? I think that certainly we need money to pay developers and to organize events and seminars and courses and training sessions. Sure, we need volunteers engaging the community, but above all, free and open source software, I think, needs communication. Because if we communicate in the right way all the opportunities of free and open source software and the ethical values that it embodies, the benefits of open source, especially in public administration, I think we would have much better chance to spread it. And what do people think about free and open source software? I want to talk about the best 5 mistaken beliefs about open source. The first one, when you say open source, people think only of the word free. And so they think that they don't pay for the software and they can save money. But they think that the software is not a good one. Unfortunately, the word free often is synonymous of lesser and lower value. And when you say you can use LibreOffice, people think, oh, okay, LibreOffice, it looks like Microsoft Office, not the same thing, but similar. But they think that LibreOffice is a makeshift solution. And when you say LibreOffice, they think that can use Google Docs for free. So they don't really need another free program. Unfortunately, they don't think about security aspects and digital freedom, for example. They don't reflect that saving a document in the cloud means saving a document not in your PC, but in someone else's. And in Italy, also in the schools and in public administrations, sometimes you can find cracked software. And this is the worst example and message that we can give to the students. The culture of legality should be valued and supported with free and open source software, I think. And when you talk about the community of open source, people think, oh, I'm not a developer, I'm not a nerd, so I can't help the community. But it's wrong. We have to say you are part of the community, also using free and open source software. We must help people to contribute and engage the community. And the list of mistaken beliefs about free and open source software could go on, and we would have to stay here until the next year. So what does LibreItalia do in this first year of activity? LibreItalia contributed spreading free and open source software in especially in public administration, supporting the growth of digital culture and the value of sharing and reusing. We promoted the spreading of the open format ODF, especially in public administration, because we need interoperability and we need to guarantee permanent access to data and information. LibreItalia promoted the digital culture and skills, in particular in schools and university, organizing free courses, free online courses too, and seminars and training sessions to provide all citizens equal access to technology and equal opportunities of participation to the knowledge society. And thanks also to the communication work of our association, last year we signed an agreement with Italian Defense that is going to migrate its 150,000 PCs, and it's adopting ODF format. And I'm very, very happy because this is the biggest migration project, the biggest Italian migration project to free and open source software for a public administration. And what can I say about LibreOffice? I think that you know it. LibreOffice is a complete software package that you can use to write a document, to make a spreadsheet, to manage data, to organize a presentation like this, and to make a draw. And about the quality of LibreOffice, I can say that there are automated tests in LibreOffice based on 10,000 documents. And with the tests, we can try the interoperability, for example, between Microsoft Office and LibreOffice, and in general, the interoperability between LibreOffice and other saving formats. And for the security, we can say that there are security independent tests, and weekly the source code is scanned by Coverity Scan, a service that finds and fixes defects in your source code. And in this graph, you can see that LibreOffice has a lower average of defects for 100 lines of code. And it doesn't mean that LibreOffice hasn't bug, but it means that LibreOffice has a good quality of source code. LibreOffice adopts the standard ODF, Open Document Format, recognized by many governments and organizations worldwide, including NATO, and now Italian Defense, and based on true open standards as the default format for all office documents. Many public administrations choose LibreOffice. For example, French government, about 500,000 PCs in 15 ministries, and Valencia and Copenhagen healthcare system, and Munich that use also Linux operating system. And I'm proud to say that LibreDifesa reuse the best practice of our migration project, LibreUmbria. In this project, we shared project documents, slides, best practice, and other materials, because other public administration and enterprises could save time and money reusing our products. And I believe that the example of Italian Defense is fantastic, because all the documents and materials could be improved and shared at the same way to help other public administration and enterprises that want to choose LibreOffice. Free and open source software help us to reuse the work of others. I think that we can promote the best use of skills and time and materials, especially in public administration. We'd like to build a network of public administration that choose free and open source software to promote the reusing of their experiences. And here you can see the Document Foundation Migration Protocol. The protocol chosen by Italian Defense and LibreUmbria and other migration projects, because we have to say that migration projects are not simple projects. Simplicity is a complexity resolved. So migration projects are complex in general, especially the migration project to free and open source software, because of the underlying problems represented by the resistance to change and by the third-part proprietary software, the encompassing third-part proprietary software, and for the conversion of document template and spreadsheet with macros, for example. And the migration to LibreOffice represents an excellent opportunity to rethink the organization processes. And for example, you can rethink the utility of the macro in the spreadsheet, re-engineer the process in order to reduce the impact of resistance to change. It's important to start the migration project with a communication activity targeted to the entire organization. When the migration process starts, all managers and employees should know the reasons of the migration project, and should know that LibreOffice, for example, is a valuable replacement for Microsoft Office, and should know that LibreOffice is implemented on millions of desktop reference documents worldwide. And another important step for any migration project is training. The training on LibreOffice at different levels should be provided to IT personnel, trainers, technology leaders, ordinary users, middle and upper management, and all end users. You can train the users with internal trainers or by external enterprise, but you have to organize a training session for the users. The analysis for the migration project of defense started last year, I think, but on 4th June, they decided the migration with an official document. And on 16th June, General Sileo, the project manager of LibreDifesa, wrote to LibreItalia an email asking a meeting to know how LibreItalia would collaborate with them in the migration to LibreOffice. And we signed an agreement with the defense on 15 September. And in the effort, LibreItalia guaranteed its free support for adopting the document foundation protocol of migration, for training of the trainer, for the realization of an e-learning course of LibreOffice, and for the organization of meetings with the manager of the defense to present the migration project. And this is the activities that LibreItalia and Defense realized in the last month. Communication to top ranks, training the trainers, the internal trainers, training to internal support staff, training to IT leaders in departments, seminars to top ranks, screening of third-party applications, analysis of training needs, and now there are impact tests on pilot departments, and the migration to LibreOffice started on January with some pilot organizations, and now there are about 5,000 PCs with LibreOffice, and I'm very happy because they haven't any problems. About the online courses of LibreOffice, we can say that we realized about 20 lessons already available with differences between Microsoft Office and LibreOffice. The defense will publish the course under copyleft. So we think that we can localize rather easily in other languages, for example. And additional training lessons will be available in the next month for the European computer driving license with LibreOffice. And here there are 5 questions and answers that the users usually do in the migration project. The first one, will the migration be a waste of time? We can say no. We can say no because end-user training will increase the capability of using LibreOffice and software in general and solving problems themselves, and the user can solving problems themselves. The internal processes will be modified and improved and re-engineered. Templates and documents with macros, for example, can be improved or remake. The migration isn't a waste of time for the user. The second one, should we anticipate an increase of calls to help desk? Especially in public administration, the calls to help desk is a problem. But we can say no, because calls to help desk are usually decreasing thanks to end-user training in classroom and plus e-learning, thanks to support from colleagues, or thanks to support of the community, for example. And should we foresee a review and update of all documents? We can say no, because most Microsoft Office documents, spreadsheets, and presentations will open as they are. So they don't need any modify. Only a few need a more consistent rework, especially spreadsheet with macros, or particular template, or some presentations that use proprietary format, for example, word art or smart art that PowerPoint use. And will end user complain about the migration? Yes. Communication will reduce the resistance to change and will engage the users in the project. But I think that 3 or 10% of users will physiologically complain, especially in public administration. And will we get the necessary support from the ecosystem? We can say yes, because LibreOffice community can help smoothing the migration process with volunteer support, but there are many enterprises and many ICT professionals, also certified LibreOffice professional in the ecosystem. So you can have support from the community and from the enterprises too. And the lesson learned, we think that the TDF Migration Protocol represents a reference, an important reference for the success of the migration to free and open source software. Not only LibreOffice, I think, but all free and open source software. For example, Italian Defense perhaps will choose other free and open source software. I don't know when and what, but I think that they will choose other free and open source software, for example, for the managing of the email. And they can organize the migration with the document foundation protocol of migration. And we learned that impossible migration don't exist. If you approach the migration with a committed project team and respect the steps and the referent project schedule, you can migrate all public administration and all enterprises. And the communication and training are fundamental tasks for migration, are the most fundamental tasks. And volunteers are our best resource, I think. Thank you. Thank you very much for the attention.
Any questions?
So you had a slide with a timeline of the process, and there was a line called the security clearance of LibreOffice. So could you explain it a little bit more? What did
the security?
Security clearance.
Okay. About the security, Italian Defense made a test of security, obviously, and the tests are positive, so they chose the LibreOffice. It's correct, huh? Oh, I don't know what they do. I think they made the penetration tests.
If I understood correctly, the migration is led by non-government organization.
I don't understand.
Who is the main implementer of migration? LibreItalia.
LibreItalia.
Great. It's impossible in Croatia. Our Ministry of Defense hired Microsoft to check and improve security. That's enough to say. Any question more? No, thank you very much.
Thank you.